Painting is a poetry that is seen rather than felt, and poetry is painting that is felt rather than seen. Once you have tasted flight, you will forever walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward, for there you have been and there you will always long to return. It had long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and things happened to them. Nothing strengthens authority as much as silence. One can have no smaller or greater mastery than mastery of oneself. I have from an early age abjured the use of meat, and the time will come when men such as I will look upon the murder of animals as they now look upon the murder of men. The smallest feline is a masterpiece. As a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so life well used brings happy death. Learning never exhausts the mind. The knowledge of all things is possible. There are three classes of people: those who see, those who see when they are shown, those who do not see. I have been impressed by the urgency of doing so. Knowing is enough, we must apply. Being willing is not enough, we must do it. The deeper the feeling, the greater the pain. As you cannot do what you want what you can do. I thought I was learning to live. I was only learning to die. Every now and then, go away. Have a little relaxation. For when you come back to your work, your judgment will be surer. Go some distance away because then the work appears smaller and more of it can be taken in at a glance, and a lack of harmony and proportion is more readily seen. One has no right to love or hate anything if one has not acquired a thorough knowledge of its nature. Great love springs from the great knowledge of the beloved object, and if you know it but little, you will be able to love it only a little or not at all. The function of muscle is to pull and not to push, except in the case of genitals and the tongue. It is easier to resist at the beginning than at the end. Principles for the development of a complete mind. Study the science of art. Study the art of science. Develop your senses, especially learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. The great deception men suffer is from their own opinions. I love those who can smile in trouble, who can gather strength from distress and grow brave by reflection. 'Tis the business of little minds to shrink, but they whose heart is firm and whose conscience approves their conduct will pursue their principles unto death. If you were alone, you belong entirely to yourself. If you were accompanied by even one companion, you belong only half to yourself or even less in proportion to the thoughtlessness of his conduct, and if you have more than one companion, you will fall more deeply into the same plight. Art is never finished, only abandoned. Nothing can be loved or hated unless it is first understood. The noblest pleasure is the joy of understanding. I love those who can smile in trouble. The painter has the universe in his mind and hands. Study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that it takes in. A painter should begin every canvas with a wash of black, because all things in nature are dark except where exposed by the light. He who does not oppose evil commands it to be done. Blinding ignorance does mislead us. Oh, wretched mortals, open your eyes. He who thinks little errs much. Once you have tasted the taste of sky, you will forever look up. Our life is made by the death of others. A poet knows he has achieved perfection not when there is nothing left to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else. God sells us all things at the price of labor. All our knowledge has its origin in our perceptions. Where the spirit does not work with the hand, there is no art. Time stays long enough for those who use it. An average human looks without seeing, listens without hearing, touches without feeling, eats without tasting, moves without physical awareness, inhales without awareness of odor or fragrance, and talks without thinking. Life without love is no life at all. The artist sees what others only catch a glimpse of. You will never have a greater or lesser dominion than that over yourself. The height of a man's success is gauged by his self-mastery, the depth of his failure by his self-abandonment, and this law is the expression of eternal justice. He who cannot establish dominion over himself will have no dominion over others. Iron rusts from disuse, stagnant water loses its purity, and in cold weather becomes frozen. Even so does inaction sap the vigors of the mind. Realize that everything connects to everything else. Make your work to be in keeping with your purpose. Intellectual passion drives out sensuality. I have offended God and mankind because my work didn't reach the quality it should have. Water is the driving force in nature. Patience serves as a protection against wrongs as clothes do against cold. For if you put on more clothes as the cold increases, it will have no power to hurt you. So in like manner, you must grow in patience when you meet with great wrongs, and they will then be powerless to vex your mind.